#Endsars is now a slogan used to protest and call for change on issues such as insecurity and even epileptic power. This is after the Inspector General of Police announced that SWAT, which means Special Weapons and Tactics Team, will fill the gaps arising from the dissolution of SARS. But the protesters say they want action before they can be convinced that SWAT is not just another name for SARS. Their demands now include justice for persons who are said to have been killed through police brutality. So once again, Endsars makes it to this episode of Special Report. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa. As the days go on, the crowd grows and the protest expands. It's the Endsars protesters, carried on mostly by youths, with no name or face to a leader. Come sun or rain, the groups around the country are persistent, and their protests may be tagged Endsars, but their demands have now gone beyond that. As answer to their protest, the Inspector General of Police had announced the ban on the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. 2 days later, he announced the formation of a new unit, SWAT, with a mandate to respond to robbery attacks, rescue operations, and special operations involving high-profile criminals. This development is in conjunction with a forum made up of the National Human Rights Commission, leaders and representatives of civil society organizations, activists from the entertainment industry, and the Endsars movement and development partners. This has not met the clamor of the protesters, and they persist in almost all the states of the Federation. In Bayelsa State, the formation of SWAT does not sit well with the youths.
You can't redeploy police and hide them under the same umbrella. That's why we are saying no to it, because the same thing will repeat itself. Yes. If Michael is a thief and his name changed to Peter, who is the thief? Who is the thief? That is what we are saying no to. It's the same SARS, it's the same police. If they are doing a reform, or a redeployment, let us know how they are going to go about it. We want to see it. I want to know their principles. They want to go about it. We need transparencies. We want to see the process.
In the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, there is no trust that the announcement has been effected. Protesters say there are still signs of operations by SARS.
If you go to the SARS camp in Abuja, which is less than 5 kilometers from here, it's in full operation this morning. If the SARS has been disbanded, how is their facility in full operation this morning? It's easy not to believe. Added to that, people are asking for very simple demands. Government has a variety of quick wins that are available to it. One of those quick wins, for instance, is do an audit of SARS detention facilities across the country and release people who have been arrested and detained there for so long without trial, without any court order. Release those people. If government does that, we'll start to see that it's serious. Justice! We are tired of this justice!
From Anambra State in the southeastern part of the country to Warri in Delta State, south-south, they display pictures and names which make up their demands and even speak for police officers' welfare.
They said they disbanded SARS. Okay, good. What about the inmates who have been arrested unjustly? We need them tried and prosecuted if they are guilty. If not, them released.
We are asking for a reform of the Nigerian police force. Make life better for these people. They are going through so much, even though that is not an excuse.
In Lagos State, the protesters seem to have been shared into the mainland and the island. On the island, the daily meeting place is the second toll gate in Lekki. They first get breakfast and announce their schedule for the day. Interestingly, some of the protesters have chosen to ensure that their meeting place is kept clean, while others amplify their demands. On the mainland, the takeoff from the Secretariat, the seat of power in the state. At some point, they moved to Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to intensify their complaints. This has in many instances caused gridlocks for hours. There were stories of infiltration of the group by thugs.
Well, what gladdens my heart is the peaceful nature of the protests. And quite some time ago, some hoodlums came with cutlass, machetes, trying to infiltrate.
The state government has reacted to the allegation that it was behind the infiltration. According to a release by the Ministry of Information, such wild allegations were obviously concocted by enemies of peace and orderliness to whip up sentiment against the government, which has been doing everything possible to resolve the crisis by identifying with the youths in their efforts towards police reforms.
So I want all policemen in command.
The police command in the state have sought ways to pacify the protesters and assure them that the ban is authentic. The Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumusu, met with officers of the banned anti-robbery, anti-cultism and other squads.
That Endsars now started from our misbehaviors. We misbehaved. We created that, and members of the public reacted. And in line with the democratic principle we have now, as a feedback mechanism, the government in the wisdom, acting to the voices of people, so the general police now disbanded all these teams. You are still in police. And one of the requests which have been granted is investigation, prosecution of anybody that has gone beyond the brief. You have been disbanded. And that's why you are all in this uniform. No more tactical uniform. No more uniform on the road putting SARS there. No more uniform on the road putting anti-kidnapping. AKT, no more uniform on the road having inscription of anti-cultism. No more police on the road in uniform having inscription radar. You have all been disbanded. As time goes on now, the authority will decide the next line of action. But be rest assured that those who have soiled their hands in dealing with members of the public, contrary to our standard operational procedure, contrary to the tenets of Force Order 237, which clearly stated the rules of engagement of firearms, will not be spared.
Youths in various states are adopting the Endsars hashtag to suit their peculiar needs. In Bauchi State, it's not Endsars but End Insecurity.
Initially, we are for reform of SARS. Once the SARS was scrapped as a law-abiding citizen of Nigeria, we accepted it and we said that we are going to look at what is going to come up next. Suddenly, they announced the establishment of SWAT. And this SWAT, we want the SWAT, we need the SWAT, and we want it to be reformed and equipped so that it can face the current challenges of our country.
In spite of the protests against police brutality in Jos, the capital of Plateau State, a convoy was said to have fired live ammunition at the protesters. Little wonder then that the protesters are already asking for an end to the newly created unit SWAT.
No to police brutality, to say no to injustice, to say no to killing and slaughtering of young people, and just to take a stand for something. And there is a lot of things we should take a stand against. Yes. It's just a case of whether they're important enough for you to take a stand against them. That is why I'm here, simply. Run! They're shooting, run!
Violent reactions such as this is alleged to have claimed lives of the protesters in Surulere, Lagos, as well as other states. Consequently, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, says it has filed a lawsuit against President Muhammadu Buhari and Inspector General of Police over ongoing intimidation and attacks on the Endsars protesters. SERAP is seeking an order to protect and secure the fundamental rights of peaceful protesters. In the meantime, the governor, Mr. Simon Lalong, has explained that all Nigerian governors are in agreement that the entire police architecture must be reformed. However, there are states like Borno and Niger that have benefited immensely from the SARS operatives.
When we see issues like this, because most of the complaints were varied from one state to the other. In one aspect, when people said they don't want SARS, in some states they are saying they want SARS. They want SARS. With reform SARS. They want a reform SARS because as far as they are concerned, some of these SARS help them a lot in addressing their insecurity. So, but if there are bad ones somewhere, holistically you bring them together, reform them, and then you work with them. So our opinion and our conclusion at that stage was that let us not just say that we are throwing the baby with the bathwater. If there are good ones, you don't chase them away. So as SARS is banned, we are now looking forward to an opinion because most of the states in the north said no. They want SARS because SARS helped them. A lot of SARS people helped them. Borno said if no SARS, he would not have been surviving today. Niger and almost all parts. So if we are addressing it like that, what was wrong? Why is it wrong? What is going wrong in some places? Is it the process of recruitment? Is it the character of the people? Is it the character of the people? So that you don't, because somebody has gone wrong, say that everybody is wrong in the country.
The coalition of northern groups and civil society organizations are asking for an end to the insecurity situation in the region, with a call on the government to live up to its constitutional responsibility of protecting lives and property. Carrying placards with various inscriptions and chanting songs, the protesters, including youths and women, marched through the major streets of Kaduna State capital. Unlike the ongoing nationwide protests for the end of special anti-robbery units of the police, the northern groups are demanding that the disbanded SARS be restored and its personnel deployed to fight Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast. The coordinator of the coalition of Arewa Youth, Sahad Bako, who handed their protest letter to the spokesperson of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, says that their peaceful protest is to call for action on the part of the state and federal government to put in necessary measures that will bring an end to insecurity in the north and in the entire country.
We need an end to the insecurity challenges we are facing in the northern part of Nigeria. We felt it's high time we come out in mass and cry to our leaders that we are dying and we want an end to these insecurity challenges. That is our main aim of coming here, and that is the main reason why we are here. We need an end to all the insecurity challenges in the north now.
You have presented to us a letter of demand concerning the incessant killings, the armed banditry, and the rest of them is disturbing our society. You will all agree with me, youth of the northern Nigeria, that insecurity is quite a challenge, and the government is doing everything to make sure it curtails all the happenings. Gentlemen of the press, youth of the northern Nigeria, I assure you, we have received your letter. We will go through your complaints. You have made some resolutions. We digest on it, and I believe, and I trust, and I assure you that very soon we will come up with a statement by the grace of God.
The protesters are getting the support of political leaders, from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to the former Niger State Governor Babangida Aliyu.
And I know the kind of work they are doing now is not the type of work that they are trained to do, actually. You cannot face unarmed civilians in a democracy with guns. Do you ever see it being done anywhere in any part of the world? Only in this country. So it's totally unacceptable.
Every institution in Nigeria needs some reform, from civil service to the police, indeed even to the military. In other words, we should pay attention to what is happening in each of these institutions. And I'm happy that Nigerians have begun now to really think about what they can do to make government do what they want the government to do.
The youths in Zamfara State are outrightly asking for SARS. They list the benefits which they say they have enjoyed since SARS started operations in their state.
Zamfara, we have our own peculiar problem. We have our own peculiar challenge, which we believe not all generic police should be specific to Zamfara State. Number one, we are state, we are people that are almost dying in banditry. We are being killed, we are being abducted, we are being kidnapped, harassed and molested by these armed bandits all over. But we cannot undermine the effort of what these SARS are doing to complement the work of the military in conducting 24 hours operation in most of this forest. And whether we like it or not today, we have experienced a relative peace in Zamfara State. And now, if we cannot advocate for more and more deployment of security agents, I think we should not be myopic in telling the federal government to take away this SARS out of environment like Zamfara. It is completely ridiculous, it is irrational, and that is why we believe we have a right to come out to demonstrate. Our reason is, unless Zamfara is secured of banditry and bandits activity, any idea that will lead to taking any formation of the security, including SARS in Zamfara State, I think it will undermine the effort of the government and the even security agencies in restoring a relative peace in Zamfara State.
The voice of Endsars has spilled to outside the country. In South Africa, they overran the security gate of Nigeria's Consulate General in Johannesburg and demand to give a direct message.
I am here to serve you, even if it will be. So please, when you come for this type of...
The United Kingdom Nigerians resident there have also taken to the streets, asking an end to police brutality. In London, music artist Ayodeji Ibrahim Balogun, with the stage name Wizkid, also led a group.
Don't let anyone tell you you don't have a voice. Yes. You all have a voice. Yes. And don't be scared to speak up. Yes. Because Nigerians will deserve good government.
While the protests spread to other states, some Nigerians are digging into the foundation of police brutality, and youths who seem not to believe the words of the government and they prefer solutions.
Channels Television exposed the infrastructural decadence in the police college in Ikeja in the days of the former president Ebele Goodluck Jonathan that led to a renovation that came in. How much do they earn as salaries? Do they even get the salaries at the appropriate time? Is it true that the high-ranking officers sometimes lodge their funds in fixed deposit account, sometimes give them target to go out there and bring money to them? Are they aiding corruption? So these are issues.
For Janice Haruna, founder of Haruna John Foundation, the experience of losing a father, Deputy Inspector General of Police Haruna John, without compensation or care from the force, puts her in the position to believe that an inadequate welfare package may be at the foundation of the misconduct of officers.
There is need for clear documentation and transparency in the welfare processes. Every police officer needs to be told, informed of all their benefits, from housing to pensions to insurance. There needs to be a pack, almost like a documentation pack that every police officer knows that tells them of their benefits. I remember several times I was asked of my dad's pay slip. How do I obtain my father's pay slip? Right? To be able to apply for something, I would be requested by the Nigerian police of his payslip, or I go to the pensions ARM and they're asking me for his payslip. I think all of these processes need to be made easier, especially for families when they are coping. So documentation, and those documentations should be handed over to families that have lost a loved one at the times of loss. For the police officers, when you interact with police officers, they don't know, especially the junior officers. They know that they pay for housing, they know that they have pensions, they know that they say they have health insurance, but how do they assess it? When they've had an accident, what is their first call? It should not be put to question that you're a police officer, you've been injured in the line of duty, you should receive treatment, you should be treated in any hospital that is licensed in Nigeria immediately without question. It should not be a case of go and bring money. You should not be refused treatment in any hospital. Yes, we have police clinics, but how many police clinics can we have around the country in every time to attend to emergencies? So I think transparency in the whole welfare system is very important.
For former Assistant Inspector General of Police Ephraim Amakolo, recruitment and training seems to have been missing in the equation.
The government should be ready to re-equip, get the police to bring in more men, more educated, better qualified people. I was a degree holder before I entered as a cadet ASP. While in the force, I read up to master's degree. I cannot be compared to the one who came in from the ranks. So I have a better temperament to be able to cope with whatever situations, and that is what is required. If the police has the capacity to depend on the quality of officers and men they have, of course they will handle protests better. But if you don't give that a priority, then you are likely to have brutality. It's a pity brutality has been in the forefront. But from what I knew, politeness is what it should be.
But it's not all about training. Alfred Ononigbo believes that the responsibility should be shared, and the creation of SWAT offers a fresh opportunity to recruit better.
We have institutions, and we've produced Nigerians, in different fields of endeavor. I would think that the first thing to do is to take a stock of how the police have existed and the purposes they've served. And in doing that, we'll take responsibility and assign duties to people that can help us look for Nigerians with credible characters to consider for employment. They should be made to go through a proper assessment that can help them determine their competence. When I'm saying this, we must eliminate connections, man no man. If you go to the police in the higher cadre today, the people you find there are cronies, wards of big people, rich people, political leaders, senior police. It's like an exclusive place for them, while the rest are from the streets, those who can pay to get in. So we must eliminate this dirty tradition that has bedeviled the service, so that people can be given responsibilities on merit. Now, we know that there is quota system. Now, people fill up their slots with all kinds of junks. The fact that we have quota system should not eliminate the fact that there must be people within that zone that has the merit and qualifies to be engaged in the services. It's not only police, it's in the customs, immigration, civil defense, even published positions in government. So we must give roles based on merit, despite that there is a quota arrangement. This must happen. And if you are given that opportunity, you must be made to assign yourself to the discipline of that service, and those who do not meet up should be properly disciplined. The justice administration system and the Constitution of Nigeria spells out your rights and privileges, and also the consequences of breach or infringing on other rights of other citizens. So we must follow the letters of the law.
Well, that's it for this episode of the program Special Reports. Remember that Channels TV is open to comments and questions from you, so please do reach out to us. I'm Ini John Mekwa.